O Master, be merciful unto us. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Vando Mui Savadana Mate Vando Mui Savadana Mate Jahara Prasadevai Ebhavatoriya Jai Jahara Prasadevai Ebhavatoriya Jai Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoite Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Shitete Koriya Aikya Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Shitete Koriya Aikya Arna Koriyo Mane Asha Arna Koriyo Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Ye Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Jakodana Jilaje Janme Janme Prabhu Te Jakodan Jilaje Janme Janme Prabhu Te Devyagan Mrede Prakashita Devyagan Mrede Prakashita Prema Bhakti Yaha Vaite Avidya Vinasha Jate Prema Bhakti Yaha Vaite Avidya Vinasha Jate Vedagaya Harachari To Vedagaya Haracharita Shri Guru Charuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokinath Lokirajivana Lokinath Lokirajivana Aha Prabhu Kara Daya De Amore Padachaya Aha Prabhu Kara Daya De Amore Padachaya Ebeyas Kutu Tribhuvana Ebeyas Kutu Tribhuvana Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamaja Narabandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamaja Narabandhu Lokanath Lokirachivana Lokanath Lokirachivana Aha Prabhu Korodaya Jai Hamare Parachaya Ha Prabhu Korodaya Jai Hamare Parachaya Ebe Askutu Tribhuvana Ebe Askutu Tribhuvana Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvashesha Sunyavadi Pasyacha Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Gaura Premanande, Hare Bol.
Now Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paripajak Acharya Stodara Sarasri Shivan Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Acharya Stodara Sarasri Shiman Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Gauri Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvi Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sri Nam Sankirtan Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Go Premanandi Ori 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 Bo. Glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories Shri Shri Guru and Go Ranga.
Hare Krishna. So I want to welcome our guests this morning. I saw we had some people in the temple room I don't normally see. Prishni Devi Dasi. She is here. Hare Krishna. That's Bruni's mom. So welcome to New Raman Reti. And Premanjali's parents, Devendra and Veena Sharma, are here. And there they are. Hare Krishna. we force them to dance when they come. It's nice. They have a big family here. And so it's very nice when they can be together with them. And Shesha Prabhu was here this morning. Hare Krishna, this is Astasaki's son-in-law, married to her daughter. And he's visiting from Denver, playing the mridanga this morning. And Bhakta Niles, Hare Krishna, he's here visiting from Ireland, and he'll be here for a couple of weeks maybe, serving at New Raman Reti. So welcome to everybody. Happy to have you here. This Wednesday starts Kartik month and the Damodar month also. So we'll start doing the Damodar Astakam every morning and at 7:30 and in the evening at 6:30. So if you're running off to work, you can come back in the evening and offer the ghee lights, and in the morning we'll do the same. It's a wonderful time when the whole community sort of comes together in the morning and often in the evening to do this. It's very, very nice. Also, every night during Kartik, we'll be chanting the Gopi Gita starting at 8:15 in the temple room in p.m. So every night for that evening time, as Krishna's getting changed into his night clothes, The devotees will be in the temple room chanting Gopi Gita. It's very sublime, so please try to come if you can. And remember that Govardhan Puja is just a couple weeks away. It's on the 26th of October on a Sunday, big, huge festival here, with a focus on the cows, of course, Go Puja. So we will be letting you know more and more in the newsletter the schedule for that day and what we'll be doing and how we'll be offering nice things to the cows on that day. So here are the devotees who assisted their spiritual master dressing the deities today. Shishi Radha Sham Sundar, Shama Priya Devi Dasi. Chota Radha Sham Sundar, Guru Prasad Devi Dasi. Shishi Krishna Balaram, Nanda Devi Dasi. Chota Krishna Balaram, Ekadasi Vrata Devi Dasi. Shishi Gornitai, Manjari Sundari Devi Dasi. Chota Gornitai, Gandharvika Devi Dasi. Gurus and Lord Nishingadev, Ram Narayan Das. Nitai Priya Prabhu is leaving for India today, so we bless her that she'll have a safe trip full of spiritual advancement and get back soon for her service. And Trivikram Prabhu is giving class today.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivakacharya Stora Sat. His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Nanta Koti Vaishnava ki. ISKCON Founder Srila Prabhupada ki. Namachara Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Daita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Gir Govardhan ki. Vrindabandham ki jai, Mayapur ki jai, Gangamai ki jai, Jamunamai ki jai, Bhaktidevi ki jai, Tulsidevi Maharani ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Samveda Bhaktivinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 51, Text 7 to 12. So we'll do 7. Hasta praptam evatmanam. Hasta praptam evatmanam. Harina sa pare pare. Nityo darshayata duram. Yavanesho drikandaram. Hasta praptam evatmanam. Harina sa pare pare. Nityo darshayata duram. Yavanesho drikandaram. Hasta praptam evatmanam. Harina sa pare pare. Nityo darshayata duram. Yavanesho drikandaram. Hasta praptam evatmanam. Harina sa pare pare. Nityo darshayata duram. Yavanesho drikandaram. Hasta praptam evatmanam. Harina sa pare pare. Nityo darshayata duram. Yavanesho drikandaram. Hasta praptam evatmanam. Harina sa pare pare. Nityo darshayata duram. Yavanesho drikandaram. Mataji's. Ashtapraptam ivatmanam Harinasa paripare Nitto darsheta duram Yavanesha Vikandaram. Okay. We'll do word for word. Hasta in his hands. Praptam reached. Eva as if. Atmanam himself. Harina by Lord Krishna. Saha he. Pade pade at each step. Nitaha brought. Darshayata by him who was shown. Duram far. Yavanaisha the king of the Yavanas. Adri in a mountain. Kandaram to a cave. Translation. Appearing virtually within reach of Kala Yavana's hands at every moment, Lord Hare led the king of the Yavanas far away to a mountain cave. That's it, and we can do it together. Palayanam yadukule chatasya tavanuchitam iti shipan anugato naina prapata subha. Translation. While chasing the Lord, the Yavana cast insults at him, saying, "You took birth in the Yadu dynasty. It's not proper for you to run away." But still, Kala Yavana could not reach Lord Krishna because his sinful reactions had not been cleansed away. 9. Evam shiptopi bhagavan pravishad girikandaram sopi pravishtashtantayam sayanam dadachena. Although insulted in this way, the Supreme Lord entered the mountain cave. Kala Yavana also entered, and here he saw another man lying asleep. Purport. The Lord exhibits here his opulence of renunciation, determined to execute his plan and give his blessings to Muchukunda. The Lord ignored Kala Yavana's insults and calmly proceeded with his program. Then, Nan Pashu Duramaniya Sete Mamiha Sadhuva Iti Matva Yutam Mudas Tampara Samadha. Translation. So after leading me such a long distance, now he's lying here like some saint. Thus thinking the sleeping man to be Lord Krishna, the deluded fool kicked him with all his strength. 11. Sa utaya chiram sukta Sanairun mila lochane Disho vilokayan parishe Tamarakshi tavastitam. The man awoke after a long sleep and slowly opened his eyes. Looking all about, he saw Kala Yavana standing beside him. Kala Yavana. Text 12. Satavatasya rutasya drishti patnina bharata deha jinagnina dhagdo ashmasad avavachana. Translation. The awakened man was angry and cast his glance at Kala Yavana, whose body burst into flames. In a single moment, O King, King Parikshit, Kala Yavana was born to ashes. Purport. The man who incinerated Kala Yavana with his glance was named Muchukunda. As he will explain to Lord Krishna, he had fought for a long time on behalf of the demigods, and finally taken as his benediction the right to sleep undisturbed. The Harivamsa explains that he secured a further benediction of being able to destroy anyone who disturbed his sleep. Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes from the Sri Harivamsa as follows. Prashuptam bodhayad yomam tam dayeyam aham sura sakshusha kroda diptena evam aha puna puna. Again and again Muchukunda said, O demigods, with eyes blazing with anger, may I incinerate anyone who awakes me from sleep. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that Muchukunda made this rather morbid request to scare Lord Indra, who Muchukunda thought might otherwise wake him repeatedly, to request his help in fighting Indra's cosmic enemies. Indra's consent to Muchukunda's request is described in the Sri Vishnu Purana as follows. Proktascha devahi samsuktam yastvam utapayishyati deha jinagnigna sadya satu bashmi karishyati. The demigods declared, whoever awakens you from sleep will suddenly be burst to ashes by a fire generated from his own body. Om Gyana Tirmanisya Gyanandana Shalakaya Sakshurim Tam Yena Tasmai Shri Gadavedama Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutle Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurahana Krishna Nirvisheshesha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutle Srimati Satsrupadasa Swami Namine Satsrupa Vinamande Venetam Sharvi Bhakti Vedanta Bhakti Vedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So we can recap what's going on for the new, for the visiting devotees here. See quite a few new faces. Welcome to Alachua. So the Lord had just established the city of Dwarka off the western coast of the Indian peninsula, and he had mystically brought all the devotees from Braja to Dwarka. And then suddenly he walked out of the fort, and knowing that this Kalayavana was awaiting him there. Kalayavana said was great Yavana. I guess most of you must have heard the word Yavana before. You know, it's like a kind of he's sometimes compared to be like barbaric, in the sense that he would, mostly like a kind of lower class being. Within the Varnashram system, you have the Kshatris, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. And then you have all lower classes. And then the Yavanas is considered much even lower than the other subclasses. And, they're very much prone to eating meat and drinking wine and fighting and so forth. So this Kala Yavana, it's stated that his father was a sage, Gargi Muni. And he was insulted by some Yadus, and so he vowed to take revenge. So he went to the south and prayed to Lord Shiva to get a son that would humiliate the Yadus. So he prayed for a while and pleased Lord Shiva, and then he came back, and somehow it stated that Kala Yavana, his father couldn't beget sons, and so he requested Gargi Muni. In the Vedic ages, if one could not get a son or children, then that person could request the sages topmost ages, or he could request the demigods, in the case of like Kunti, or he could request his brother. See, like that. But that's forbidden in Kali. See, so we should know this of, different things like taking sannyas or sacrifices and so. Getting children from your brother's wife or sages and so. So Gargi Muni begot this Kalyavana, and he stated that he was a powerful Yavana. He had the fury of one of Lord Shiva's expansion called Mahakala. Mahakala was a very furious expansion of Lord Shiva, that he would, when he's angry, he could destroy the world. See? Maybe I'll give you a little story later on about this Mahakala and my father. But let us proceed here. So this Yavana king was waiting to fight with the Lord. He had an army of 60 million men, something like that. And he was waiting. And Lord Krishna simply walked out without shoes or without arms or anything. This is the nature of the Lord. And it's stated here, he's showing his opulence of renunciation. And so he walked out, and then Kalyavana says, what this guy is doing here? What do you think he's doing? So he said, well, since he's not going with weapons, I'll follow him, and probably I'll fight with him later on. So he also threw away his weapon, his army, and so forth, and started to follow the Lord. And the Lord was moving as swift as possible, and he was like, he will get like close to the Lord, but then he just couldn't get to the Lord. And remember this, Yavana was supremely powerful. It's not like he was like an ordinary being. He was supremely powerful. He could walk fast and run fast. So it's stated in the Sri Upanishad, Anejad ekam manaso jiviyo naina deva apnuvan purvam arsa. The personality of God is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others running. He surpasses all in excellence. So this Yavana could not in any way reach the Lord. And so the Lord was taking him to meet his devotee Muchukunda. Muchukunda was the son of Mandata Muni. No, the son of Maharaj Mandata. And it's stated that he came from the Ikshwaku dynasty. Within the Bhagavatam, there are two dynasties that's prominent and we need to know about. Sometimes it's good to be reminded. One is called the Surya Vamsa, where the one which Lord Ramachandra came from, and the other one is called the Soma Vamsa, the one that Lord Krishna came forth. See? And these two dynasties is important for us to understand because there are many exalted kings that are mentioned here that we need to know about their history. So the Surya Vamsa, it's stated, it started from, of course, like Lord Krishna, Vishnu, then Brahma, Marichi, Kashyapa, and then Vivashwan, or the sun god. See? And then you have Manu, Ikshwaku, then Kushi, Vikushi, Bana, Anaranya, Pritu, Srishanku. No, most of you must have heard of Srishanku. Dundumara, Yavanashva, and Mandata. So Mandata is the king here, and Muchukunda was his son. And that's a long time. Anybody have an idea how long that is? It's roughly or close to about 2 million years before the Lord advented. And he went to the demigods and helped them fight with the demons. And when he was fighting, time elapsed. When he came back to the earthly planet, what happened? the whole generation were gone. It's just like that king who had taken his wife to Brahmalok to get a daughter. What's her name again? He took his daughter to Brahmalok to get a suitor for her. And when he came back, so many generations had gone. Huh? Revat, right. And the king was Revata. Yeah. Was it? Yeah. So just like this, so Muchukunda, when he went to the heavenly planets and forth, when he came back, everybody disappeared. His family, generation, everything. See? And this is how time works in the material world. I'd like to tell you all a little bit about how time works. So what he did, he decided, well, he'll just take a rest for us because he fought for a long time there. And sometimes, remember he was a human, he was not a demigod. And so when he went there, when he came back really, he was really, it's just like when you fly from here to India, like how many hours, when you land there really, you're very tired. And then you lost consciousness of time for some time, And but this is like going to the heavenly planet. See? So he lost that momentum, and so he decided to stay in a cave and sleep. And he asked for the boom that whoever awakens him would be turned to ashes by his glance. And this was also to deter Indra, because fearing that Indra would want to wake him to go back to fight again. So he said, well, if anybody wakes me up, this would happen. So before I go further on that, let me explain a little bit about time. We have like Krishna time or Vishnu time. Then we have Brahma time. Then we have the demigods time. Then we have the Pitri time. Then we have the human time. Then we have the animal time. We have the plants time. We have the insects time. All these move in different time scales. You see? It's stated a month of man is a day and night for the Pitris. The dark night is the day for the Pitri. And the bright fortnight is the night for them. See, the Pitri is like the ancestors, your forefathers and so. See? A year for man is a day and night for the demigods. You see? The demigods and the demons. When the sun is on the northern horizon for the 6 months, that's the day for the gods, and that's the night for the demons. And when the sun is on the southern horizon, now the sun is moving toward the southern horizon, and we get in winter here. So that is the day for the demons and night for the gods. You see? And then it's stated four of the human ages, that is Satyug, Dwapara, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, is one age for the gods. You see? 4 of our age. And 1,000 of the gods' age is 1 day for Brahma. See? 1,000 age is 1 day for Brahma. And Brahma lives for 100 such days. And one Brahma's lifetime is a breath of Lord Vishnu. You see? So that's how the time works. And then of course, like our year for the insect and the animals is different. Maybe a dog lives for 20 years, a cat or a rat lives, so all of them have their different time. So all this is in one sense calculated nicely and scientific if you study how it works, like for the insects and so forth. Some insect they just exist for a night and then they die by the time day comes. Srila Prabhupada wrote about this. So this Muchukunda, after he came back, everyone was gone, family, everything. Imagine you went somewhere and you come back, all your family disappeared, gone. See? It's a hard blow. So he went to the cave and he was sleeping there. And so the Lord remembered his devotee Muchukunda, because Muchukunda, his devotees are also the demigods. See? And he helped the demigods. So he remembered Muchukunda. This is the ideal nature of the Lord. He said, Vedaham Samatitani. How does the verse goes? Vedaham Samatitani. Vertamanani Sarjan. See? It's stated here. I know past, present, future. I know all the living entities. But me no one knows. You see? So he knows that his devotee would be ready to be awoken. And the befitting way to is to take this yavana there. You see, because he got a boon that whoever awakens him will be torn to ashes. So instead of this conceited fool, Kalayavana, that's how it's described here. He wanted to challenge the Lord. And it's stated because of his piety, he did not have enough pious credit. He could not reach the Lord. And the Lord went to the cave, and then the Lord just disappeared somewhere. And so when he went, he thought the Lord was lying asleep now. After the Lord brought him so far, he's asleep. And he kicked with all his might. Imagine that. I mean, and he knew the Lord is Krishna. Because Nara had briefed him up, the description and everything. So he knew this was the Lord. But still, he's going to kick him. So he kicked him, and then what happened? Muchukunda opened his eyes, looked at him, and he turned into ashes. Can we remember who else had this kind of pastime? The sons of Sagar with Kapila Dev Muni. When they went, that horse, the horse that was supposed to go around the world they were supposed to do the sacrifice, it went to Lord Kapila's ashram and was grazing nearby. And they thought, well, the Lord was in meditation, and they thought, well, he might have hidden this horse here. And they were so arrogant, really. I mean, this is he is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead meditating there. But these guys were so arrogant, really. They thought, well, we're going to capture him or something. And they went there. And immediately the Lord opened his eyes and burned them to ashes. But of course that was interesting, because then that would bring the Ganges store. You see? And so all these names within the Suravamsa were mentioned, like Bhagirat, Dilip, Bhagirat, Sagar, Asamanja, and Amsumana. These are names that is important to note, and then later on it would be Raghu, and then Lord Ramachandra would come in this dynasty. And then so he burnt this great Yavana to ashes. And that was the end of him. Within the purport, it stated that okay, I kind of described it a little. Yes, Vishwanath Chakravarti explains Muchukunda made his rather morbid request to scare Lord Indra, and so forth. So the Lord, he's always thinking about his devotees. He's always thinking about their welfare, even though they may not, or the devotees, they think about the Lord constantly, and he thinks about them even more so. And so Muchukunda was one great example. This was an ideal example, because it was time for him to get up from his sleep, and this was the fitting pastime. See? But they were all the devotees that the Lord helped at the time of great need. And we can recall a few, like we remember the pastimes with Bhishma. See? When Bhishma was about to leave the planet, then what happened? The Lord remembered him. Because after the Mahabharata war and everything took place, but Bhishma was waiting for the sun to go towards the northern horizon. So that was ideal time to go back to the spiritual world. So the Lord immediately remembered Bhishma and he told Yudhishthira, let us go and see my great devotee Bhishma. And they went there, and then he would benedict Bhishma with the ability to speak. And then Bhishma would explain Bhagavatam to Yudhishthira Maharaj. See, that was one great time. If you remember in this pastimes, another great personality was Nriga. See? Nriga, he was very charitable, was a very great king, and he made this mistake of giving the cows to these two brahmana mistakenly, and then what happened? He was cursed to be a lizard. And then the Lord went in there and liberated him. We can remember of any other personality? I mean, we can think about Draupadi at the time of need, when she was disrobed by the Kauravas. The Lord appeared there and helped her. We can think of who else? And there's so many other pastimes. So the Lord is always thinking about his devotees, his exalted devotees. And he is ready to help them, more so than they're even thinking about. And this is the quality of the Lord. And so for our own self, we have to purify our existence so that we can go back to the spiritual world. In one of the purport here, it was stated that Kalayavana was not sufficiently purified, so he could not reach the Lord. Despite how speed he was going, he could not reach the Lord. You see? And so for us too, if we don't take the process as being given by Srila Prabhupada and the spiritual master, then the chances are we may stay here for many lifetimes. You know, we can slip and hover around in this material world for even ages, kalpas. See? But if we take simply, the process is very simple. To focus on our wrongs and the principles, regulative principles. And the regulative principles are also fundamental. And it's not one principle or two principles or three principles. It's four principles. We have to be careful. And so qualify ourselves to be noticed by the Lord, to be accepted by him. See? And so I said I wanted to give a quick pastime with my father on this Mahakala before we go. I mean, it seems mundane really, but this is the fury of the Mahakala, the expansion of Lord Shiva. My father knew about it. So what happened? His brother had stolen some melon from their neighbors. Melon. He went into the field and split the melon, and he and his friends probably just dig it out and ate the melon, and you know. And so his sister told him that his brother did this, and he can be in a lot of trouble. So my father decided to concoct a plan. He said, he went and told the neighbor that he can tell who did this act. And so he said that he has the power to invoke Mahakala. He was a young guy, maybe like you guys. You see, he had the power to invoke Mahakala. So he probably dressed up like a yogi and so, and tell the neighbor to bring some, bring whatever, like cheese and wine and so forth. You see? And he said he sat near to the altar and he started to like vibrate himself as if like Mahakala entered his body. And he started to vibrate, you know, and ask the people to ask whatever question they want to ask. So they said, who stole the melon? And my father said, he told them a guy was visiting the village from a far off village. And he is the one that took it. But I can't tell you his name now. You know, and so he was able to save his brother from, you know, from serious crime. Really. So when I read this pastimes at Mahakala, I remember that really. See? Because always his sister and his nephews would come and make fun with him. They would call him Kankala Bhairav. See? Yeah. So I'll stop here if there's any question you guys have on the text or any comment. Yes, Prabhu?
You said that there are 4 principles to follow, and I'm very new to this 4 principles. This is well.
Okay, yes. The regulative principles of no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit connection with women. See? Sometimes, you know, it's easy to follow some of the principles, and then some, like, it's a little difficult. But ultimately, we have to try to follow the 4, or follow the 4. Any other comment or question? Yes, Prabhu?
I'm always trying to apply the philosophy in my day-to-day life. So I'm wondering, you know, it's like we know when we're thinking of Krishna, right? That's obvious. But how do we perceive that Krishna is thinking about us? I wonder if you could speak from your own realizations.
Oh, from my own realization, of course. Yeah. One time, we were coming from a program, and this vehicle was going about 90 miles per hour. And I told the driver, don't drive so speed, we're not in a hurry. And he still didn't listen, he was going. And one of the wheels blew off at 90 miles an hour. And this vehicle somersaulted 3 times in about 1 second. You can imagine. And we flew through the windows and so forth. I mean, that was death. That was for certain, that was death. I mean, and I was the first person to get up. I mean, I flew through one of the windows, you know, my head was cracked up and so forth. But I got up. And immediately when I got up, I was falling down back because of the head injury. Really. And when I looked, like there were about 15 people in this taxi. And they were like all dead. I mean, when you look at this, I think I remember, I was trying to remember like the scene in Mahabharata. Like all these people, they were unconscious. And they were like, it was such a horrible sight. And you know, I could tell, I mean, that was the Lord. I mean, how else could you be saved from that? Some of those people died, and some of them had like really bad, like the taxi driver, half of his face was cut off. Some guy's hand were cut off. So it was ghastly. My wife-to-be then was flown from here to by the toilet, the bathroom. See, and she was hung. She was there too, like her mouth was open. She was unconscious, and she was unconscious for about. So you know, a lot of people came and they were grabbing us and stuff, and some guys came and grabbed me, and then, well, I was looking for her, and there was one devotee. The devotee was under the vehicle. The vehicle was smashed like this. When you look at it, it was almost like this, flat like that. Now you can imagine. And one devotee was under that. You know, there were three of us, you see. And somehow, miraculously, she was also saved. She got a little back injury. And there are many, many other cases I can tell you about, really, on the road, so forth. It's the hands of the Lord. I always remember, the jaws of death was certain there, you see, and many, many other incidents. One time I was driving on the highway, and this big truck was coming, and it was coming with such a speed, and I just, by instinct, moved over, but it was the Lord. Otherwise I would be crushed to death. And many, many other instances, really, the Lord is always thinking about us, always thinking of our welfare. And you see, we've seen this with devotee. In the Bhagavatam, I was talking about Bhishma, but Drupadi, he was always ready. Drupadi, they were going to disrobe her, and immediately he placed the sari here. And, you see? So all of us too, he will do the same. He will protect us.
How the Lord helps us with their devotional service. You're talking mostly about how he saves your body from death. But what about that?
I like to quote verses, really, but sometimes I'm so spaced out with the verses. But he allows us. He says, one comes to me. As one comes to me, makes a step towards me, I make multifarious steps towards him. You see? So as we try to apply ourselves in devotional service, then the Lord, he also he guides us, and he gives us the spirit and the what can I say, the determination, right, to proceed and to go forward. That's
Exactly a year ago yesterday, Prema, who was sitting next to me, and I, through my ego and my pride, I got in an argument with him and I left. And I entered for the material world for an entire year. And I suffered a lot, and it was a great lesson to me. So I wouldn't say by sheer Krishna, by sheer coincidence. I would say more by the will of Krishna. I came back with nothing planned exactly 1 year yesterday. And I didn't get to see when I left last year, it was at the same festival as yesterday, and I never got to see the head of Ravana get burned. So in turn, I got burned for a year. Would you say that this was Krishna remembering me, allowing me to come back to him?
He's always thinking. Yeah, and definitely. When he wants you to come closer to him too, sometimes he put you in distressful situation, and then you have no one else to turn to but to him. For some people, somebody takes away family, takes away everything, and leave you sometimes homeless, Yeah, like for me, sometimes, a lot of times I used to say, most of my family's actually gone, My mother left when I was young, then my brother, then my father, then other family members later on, So when you're in that situation, you have to turn more to him, knowing, the nature of this material world. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.